Alrighty, ladies. What time is it?
Ask
Ask
your
your
aunties. Oh my god, that was so much better than last week.
Oh yeah, that was the other struggle. God, I forgot about that. That was a struggle too. The Ask Yo Aunteas. It was just a struggle episode last week. We love you, Landy.
I can't wait to listen. Look, that is so queued up for my plane ride because I got 6 hours, honey, to burn
There we
through. And I'm
go.
like, I want to like luxuriate in this.
Yes, you gonna catch it. You gonna be like, ooh, girl.
Real face there.
I know our faces were like. She was like, I ain't been on in a couple weeks. Leave me alone.
She could have came here and did the recording from our apartment. We weren't even here.
You know.
We got stable internet.
Okay. Well, the internet was stable. The internet was stable. It was just the power.
No, that part. That's what. Okay. That part.
Somehow the internet stayed on. Anyway, it says, "Hey, aunties, I'm curious as to who were some of your early Black heroes or Black folks you looked up to as we celebrate Black History Month."
Meteor Man. No, I'm kidding.
Ooh, I did like Meteor Man. Though.
I did like Meteor Man.
No, I like Blank Man better than Meteor Man.
Blank Man was good too.
It was fire.
No, that's some blacky black ass shit.
Like, they don't make Black films like that no more.
This show don't. No, but real talk. I really. This is actually kind of hard for me to think of, and it's not just because I don't know Black history. I just felt like there just was a lack of kind of awareness of Black heroes that later in life became heroes, because the Black representation we saw on TV was given to few people. And when we were teaching Black history, when we were taught Black history, they really kind of pigeonholed, who the main figures were for the most part.
Were there any people like in your everyday life?
No, when it comes to my everyday life, honestly, it would probably.
Oh Lord!
I was about to say something. I was like, that sounds bad. Like I don't like my family, but honestly, like my grandma was my hero. Like my grandma was my hero, and I call my grandma mom. And actually, I talked to her before this, because she was just that person who just really, truly led by example, but also gave room for me to fail and learn and figure out who I was at the same time. And she's probably because there's only one other person, but she's one of two people that I know in my life since the day I was born that has never, ever, not once judged me or said anything that I couldn't do or anything, or didn't accept a single part of me. Her and my cousin Jada are like the two people who have never, not once faltered at all whatsoever. So it would be my grandma, and it would then be my cousin Jada, because my cousin Jada also had like the Jada Pinkett Smith haircut too. Hey. So she ran track too. So she was just, my cousin was a thug, she hooked out. She was dolled up at the same time.
She was Sha'Carri before Sha'Carri.
Yeah, literally. Okay. But honestly, like I don't personally feel like I had a lot of, I don't know, positive examples growing up. I had to learn by watching other people struggle, if that makes sense. So I got to see a lot of just realness from other people having to go through things in their life. And that kind of ended up being the example that was taught to me, which is not what to do. Like they didn't teach me what to do. I learned what not to do by watching. So that was just kind of for me. That's kind of how I grew up.
Yeah. What about you, Dewan?
When I first saw the question, I thought of like, who did I admire? And as, I don't know how this is going to sound, but like, honestly, Storm from the X-Men.
Yeah. Real talk.
Like as a kid, obviously there are like people that have done great things, in terms of like Black history and whatnot and modern history. But like, when I think about who I actually admired, like the only reason why I collected X-Men comic books for so long was because my girl Storm was in there. And, you just did not see characters like that were dark skinned, from Africa, just projecting grace and fucking immense power.
Yeah.
And I ate it up. I don't know if that was
Was
like
there
hero
almost like
or
a mixture
fan,
of
but
blackness and queerness for you too? Like, was there?
oh,
Because yeah,
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think as a young gay, um, quasi effeminate young man, uh, I found a lot of people, a lot of attraction for powerful female characters,
Yeah.
and
yeah, yeah,
particularly in that are black. And the more that I thought about this, and as I was listening to Jarrell, when I think about like in my personal life, it's wild because I feel like this person is like played the hero and the villain at the same time because they're Gemini. So you got both of them. But it was my mom, like 100%. Like I grew up in a single parent household. My parents were separated and divorced much later, but I always knew them as being, for the most part, separated. And my mom held shit down, and we, as much of a struggle as it is for one parent, to have three kids at the age of 23, 24, right? Um, and to be able to have, a roof over our heads, to have food on our table. We never really wanted for anything. We had a pretty moderate middle class kind of like upbringing, which I feel privileged, and I recognize that is a privilege because not a lot of people
yeah,
have that. But like the things that my mom had to sacrifice, and the expectations that she had for us, and the enablement that she provided us in terms of supporting our passions, whether it was arts or sports or music or arts or I said arts again because we did a lot of well, I did a lot of arts.
yeah,
Um, like she made sure that we had a well-rounded childhood with activities and trips and extracurriculars, but then we did book reports every single week. Like language and vocabulary was really important in our family. We played like Scrabble all the time, like any kind of word game, Scrabble, Boggle. like like we had a very rich culture, and I have to attribute that to my mom. um because she was the one that made all that happen. And so I know that sounds a little like, I don't want to say pandering or whatever, but it's true. Like I
yeah,
really look at my mom as that person that will like, when you say it, give me a chick that can do it all, my mom can do it all.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah.
I love that.
What
Um,
about you, Boo?
yeah, like I would say, personal life. Both my parents, like I'm a mama's boy at the end of the day, but I'm so much like my dad as well. And my dad, like, he's probably the first one where I'm just like, oh, okay, this dude's a superhero for real. Because, like, especially as I've gotten older, just kind of realizing, like, he was started his own church, had a PhD, so he was like high up at Dow Corning in like corporate America, and so like just to be tugged multiple ways from a lot of people that needed his energy.
Mm-hmm.
Never missed like a track meet. Never missed a sporting event, a music event. Nothing like, and I didn't realize it then, like, because that's a lot. They have three kids
Yeah.
that are involved in all this sports and shit like that, but still, you got to
Oh,
be
yeah.
available for the church. You got to be available for your boss at work that may be calling you at 9 o'clock at night. Stuff like that. As I realize as I get older, just the life be life. And so it's made him even more grander in my eyes because I never heard him complain, never heard him, nothing. And we'd be like on a Saturday, be like, oh, I'm going to go and do this. And he'll gladly take us. If we forget something at home, he'll gladly go home. He's still like this to this day. Like he will just gladly do stuff because it doesn't bother him. And that's the way he shows love as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just the first one that, especially from where he kind of came from, because he didn't necessarily get all of that, maybe from his dad and his father figure, to be able to be like, you know what, I didn't get this. That's not an excuse. Let me figure this shit out and be able to be there for my kids, despite all the other responsibility that I do have still this day. I can call my dad right now and be like, hey, Dad, I need you down here in Philly right quick because he will hop in that truck in a heartbeat and be here by morning and not think twice about it. and that's just kind of cool, you know. So he's definitely my hero in my eyes, and my mom too. But specifically my dad, like I need to shout him out because I probably just don't do it enough. But then just like in like culture, I was a Michael Jackson fan from like birth. Like that dude was like something else to me. So a lot of my people that I looked up to just like in culture were around music throughout my life. Even to this day, I just get there's something this that fills me up when I just see someone just doing something well musically. I'm just like, like my DNA gets happy. So, but the first one I could really be like, I'm just a Michael Jackson fan. Then it turned into like Janet, and then it's all this stuff. And then even on TV, for some reason, it sticks out in my mind. Do you remember the show Ghost Rider?
Yes, I do.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The black kid on there, I think his name was like Jamal or something like that.
Yeah.
I used to love that show, and just to see the black kid on Ghost Rider, I used to love it. I used to love Jamal on there and things like that. So yeah, and then it came down to like Aaliyah, then it came to like Timbaland and Missy, like just so over like just the black excellence and culture that I like enjoy. But day to day, it's definitely my dad and my mom as well. So
I definitely feel like kids today have a lot of options outside of the traditional politics and entertainment realms. Because I feel like growing up, it's not to say that there weren't, obviously there are the at least for me, Jesse Jacksons of the world and the, Al Sharptons of the world and like these folks that are doing really amazing political activist work. So I think when you think of like Black History Month, you think of like activism, people that are out there for the culture, protecting rights, but I feel like now there are so many people that are out there that are just doing amazing things. We've got Lena Waithe, we've got, oh gosh, what is her name? Tammy Brown? Not Tammy Brown. The one that the vegan that has
Tabitha
like
Brown.
Tabitha Brown. Thank you. We've got all these interesting like entrepreneurs that are out there that are changing the game and changing the discourse around breaking generational curses. You've got Dwayne Wade that's out there who on top of his athletic accolades, the way that he stands for his family and he supports his children and does so publicly and gracefully and intelligently. There are so many people that are out there today that have a voice and a platform. That I'm really excited that kids today get to grow up with all of these different kinds of influences from all different kinds of walks of life.
Absolutely. And honestly, we say it all the time. That's why we started this podcast, to kind of join that fray. Honestly, it's just like we didn't see a lane there, so we took an opportunity to do so. And hopefully one day people are like, oh, Auntie Corell, Dewan, and Jarrell, like, I look up to them. And just to let you know, life be life for us too. So we figuring this shit out too. So.
Yeah. But I will say that's one of the questions like this got me thinking. And I gotta be honest. I got a little emotional, like hearing you all like talk about your parents, being, like that person, for you. If I'm being honest, I had to write this down because Marvin and I have to talk about this at therapy on Saturday. But
not the cliff notes, honey. She said I came with a list.
I got
you're gonna have a breakthrough tonight.
I got to unpack this. But no, honestly, I didn't realize how, because I knew my parents were babies raising a baby, and a part of me had forgiven, some of the things that were done towards me or that was not done towards me. But I guess I never really thought about just how much I missed out on as well too, if that makes sense, and what it would have been like to have, the parents that you see on TV or the parents that you get to hear that your friends have. And I don't know, like me and my siblings, we sometimes talk about this, like because we'll talk and be like, oh, here your mama go again, oh, let me tell you about your daddy, like, and we literally have to say to each other. And it's sad that it's like almost a comfort but we remind each other, like, you got to remember, we don't have the parents that other people have. And I don't know, for some reason, like that just really made me just really emotional, being like, damn, like that was something that I just never got in my life and I'm not going to get in my life. And that's not to say that my parents aren't good parents. Okay. They,
100%.
they are doing the best that they can. And I
1,000.
definitely acknowledge that, but it doesn't mean that there's still something that I'm not missing out on, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's why I pride myself on being an uncle. That's why I take my responsibilities as an uncle very seriously, because that's not what I got. And I want to make sure that they are getting that that love and that representation, and that and they have someone that they can say, hopefully. And if they don't when they grow up, that's okay too. But at least I know that I gave everything, and I did everything I could to make it better for the next generation, you know.
Yeah.
And one of the beautiful things that I've ever heard one of my nephews say, it was, when I go up, I'm going to be an uncle just like you.
I'll see.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was like, okay,
I think I'm doing all
all right, I'm
Hmm.
doing all right.
right.
It's
Yeah,
very interesting. Like, I think a couple of things. One, um, it never does us, anyone, any good to compare situations, because
yeah.
that's why I had to like caveat my my hero comment, because you know my mama a trip.
Yeah,
I
I was
mean,
like, it doesn't mean
look,
there's not some
there's
Right.
flaws that everybody has.
there's 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 a whole lot of trauma being unpacked from the things that we didn't get, or the things that
That's a word.
we got that other people didn't get.
That's a
But
whole word.
um I so appreciate you sharing that, Jarrell, because that's a real
Yeah.
moment. I can imagine people listening to anything that we talk about and be like, wow, like I don't have that, or I haven't experienced that. Even like the stuff that we talked about at the beginning of the podcast today, like, the Beyonce tickets and like the travel stuff. And like, there are people that are listening right now that are just like, that is just not my life. And,
Yeah.
how amazing would it be, to have that, and, the things that the aunties have, or that they talk about, or the friendship that we have that maybe they don't have. And it's like everybody has their own lane to walk in their own journey on this earth.
Yeah.
And it's the experiences that we get, the gifts that we get from others, and the missed opportunities, or the traumas that we also carry with us, that informs the person that we are today, that also then translates into who we show up for others. So the fact that you took your upbringing and the hurt parts of those and translated that into an immense amount of outpouring of love and support and understanding, and just being there for as an uncle, and for your family.
Yeah.
Imagine the gift that they're getting, because how you've chosen to overcome the things that were missing in your life.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
I mean, honestly, like, I think about it, but as like, I don't know, it's just one of those things, as I get older, like, I find myself thinking about the past more for some reason, you know, and I don't know if I'm thinking about the past because I'm trying to figure out what the future looks like and how I can be, because I also very believe you got to know where you come from to know where you're going, and so it's every now and then I think about those things. I'm just like, damn.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but everything happens for a reason, and the truth is, um by the grace of God, I am here today,
Mhm.
like, so at the end of the day, he's the one in control at the end of the day, and I'm just going to ride passenger
Ride
seat
this
and
shit out.
God, your will, and
Right.
it will be
And
done.
I love that notion. Like, as we think about Black History Month, I love the notion of, we are doing the best we can with what we have.
Yes.
And we're all at different points of the spectrum in terms of what we have and what we don't have. But what you choose to focus on, and how you choose to live as a result of your information,
Mhm.
um, that says a lot about your place in the world. And um, people who can take trauma and heartbreak and hurt and all these things that are that are tough to go through. It's like that saying goes, you never have a testimony without a test,
Mm, mm,
and the
yeah.
gift that comes from people who have a testimony to inspire others, to motivate others, to even just like let people know that you are not experiencing this alone. There are a whole bunch of other people out here
One
that
thousand
know where
percent.
you have come from and know what you've gone through, and
Yeah.
have taken the opportunity to invest and bet on themselves in a way that is carving out a brighter future versus wallowing in the why is me and the why what I don't have and da 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 da. It's it's powerful. It really
Yeah.
is.
I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. So community, we're curious as to who some of your early Black people in your life or on TV culturally that you looked up to, that you found were heroes as we celebrate Black History Month. I was going to say celebrate Black History Month. Let us know in the comments or DM us and things like that. And if you have an Ask Your Aunteas question, send them to aya@minorityReport.com or DM us that as well. So